There's also a growing debate in Washington over whether taxpayers should subsidize junk food purchases for those who use SNAP benefits, previously known as food stamps. Florida Senator Marco Rubio recently introducing a bill that would exclude soft drinks, candy, ice cream, and desserts like cakes and cookies from being purchased with these funds. And Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, joining us right now. Niall, this isn't about, I feel like this is so surface level. It's really silly to me because the reasons why people eat junk food go far beyond what they can afford or not afford. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine, according to the National Institutes of Health. So how in the world are you going to pass a law about it?
Well, I take your point that sugar is a big issue, and I completely take your point that the reasons why people eat certain things or have other certain habits are not purely regarding money. Having said that, it is possible to use money as an incentive or disincentive for certain kinds of behaviour. Senator Rubio here clearly trying to make the argument that it is not in society's interests to be essentially giving money to people to buy junk food with.
So would it happen that if you went to the grocery store and you were on SNAP benefits, that you would have the certain number of things in your cart, you put them on the little conveyor belt for the cashier to bring you in, and when it came to soda or ice cream, the SNAP would not actually work?
So you've hit on a really central point, which is how would this be enforced? Everyone gets that we have a national interest in combating obesity. People can have an argument about the abstract issue of how you use SNAP benefits. But there are 650,000 food and beverage products in the United States. How do you define what is junk food and what isn't? Who is the person who enforces it? Do you have some way where, as you say, the card doesn't work? Do you have a cashier saying, no, you can't buy that with your card? Those really gritty nuts and bolts points are where the problem arises for a lot of people in this proposal.
And I'm sure that Marco Rubio is seeing some pushback from his colleagues across the aisle who would say, well, you can't say that to people who live in a food desert where they don't have the same kinds of access to healthier foods as people in other areas of the country.
They are exactly saying that, but I did find an interesting point in researching this topic, Adrienne, which is Rubio does have a counter-argument to that, which is in low-income communities, food deserts are a real problem. Now, a lot of the people in those communities are on SNAP benefits. If you change the eligibility around SNAP, you not only incentivize better consumption, but you perhaps incentivize the grocery stores or bodegas in those areas to stock better food and less of the foods that would be disqualified under his proposal.
I don't know that that would work. And the only reason why I say that is because I was raised on food stamps. The food stamp program is something I'm very familiar with. I'm not familiar with SNAP because by then, you know, I'd gone on and gone to college and got good jobs and all that stuff. But for my mom, I watched her raise 7 kids on this program. Marco Rubio would love my mother because she insisted on only buying healthy foods, lots of fruits and vegetables. She didn't feed us junk food, but that goes to culture. So what in the world could legislators do to, I guess, address that part of habits? Because it's really more habit than anything else as to what you buy.
It is, right, and it's a fusion of the habit with the addictive qualities of sugar that you just mentioned. And that's why obesity rates have increased vastly in this country over the last 30 or 40 years. You know, look, I first of all, shout out to your mother for doing the right thing. I remember when I was a kid being fed sardines and things that cost very little but are nutritious and certainly aren't junk food. So, you know, credit to both our mothers, but how we actually transpose that to a way that changes the behavior of people in a mass level is more difficult.
Yeah, because this goes more to self-worth. This goes more to knowing and accepting and loving your body than it does to ringing up a 6-pack of pop.
Right, and also not using food almost for a kind of mood-altering or narcotic effect, right? Which is a whole other part of it.
Yeah, part of our society would say, oh, well, it's better that they're eating candy bars than they're doing drugs. Niall Stanage, thank you so much.
Thanks, Adrienne.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.